It'll be here in a second. Take it away, Kellie.
Good morning, everyone. This is NDILC's Facebook Live. Wonderful talk about our principles. And today we've got a great principle to discuss. I'm glad you're all with us. I've got my colleagues here and we're going to talk about keep achieving. And really, as I thought about the topic, what I want to do is expand it a little bit and then contract it a little bit as we go through and kind of unpack our thoughts on this principle. Again, I've got my colleagues here with me. I'm going to let them talk about themselves as we go along, give a little brief intro if they choose. But most of all, I wanted to start with really just the definition of achievement. And what does keep achieving even mean? And what does achieving even mean? And so I looked it up and it says in the dictionary that it's to successfully bring about or reach a desired objective level or result by effort, skill, or courage. And I thought that was interesting because I think many times we think about achieving in very specific terms, like your career or maybe one specific goal. And it may have a few different meanings as we go through this discussion. So I want us to just keep our minds very broad and think about what achievement really means in life, perhaps, as well as in your career. I know for me, for a long time, it was all about my career. And you can get very, very focused there. And it was about getting to the next level and achieving more. And I was very blessed to have a great career at UPS, with leading a large sales force, et cetera. And I really do feel that that was a really great achievement. But I also had my family with me along the way. And I really believe that that achievement was even better. And then I had a lot of friends that stuck with me through it all. And I kind of feel that's a big achievement too. So I just got back from a wonderful trip with one of those friends. I have a dear friend who moved to Perth, Australia. And she and I talked about, we've been friends since 7th grade. And to have a friendship that lasts over 50 years or 50 years now is to me quite an achievement. It's just not something that you think about as an achievement all the time. So let's just start right there, kind of our thoughts on the word achieving and what achieving means to you. And we'll just go around quick. So why don't I start with Tammy? Why don't you go ahead?
Sure. I think that achieving, I loved your definition because I do think that it is, and I especially love the part about courage, because trying new things and having the courage to try new things, I think even as a leader, as far as business goes, we have to be demonstrating by example that we're not afraid to take chances, and we're not afraid to fail, and we're not afraid to fall, because when we put ourselves out there, we give other people the opportunity to be able to do that. People grow in an environment where they feel safe and they feel trust. And when we demonstrate courage, and we demonstrate that we might not succeed at absolutely everything either, we help others to take chances and jump in for the opportunity to be able to achieve more things. I also think people don't follow people that are an empty suit, that they really want to have. It's much more important to be respected than liked, and you get respected for what it is that you said you were going to do, that you did, that you followed up and followed through. And that can be with family, that can be with friends, that can be at business, but it's following through with what it is you said you were going to do. For me, whether it's my family or business, I always share what my goals and dreams are first and what I'm committing to, because then it gets everybody else willing to commit to something. But then when I commit to it, I have to stick with it, right? And so it forces you to stick with it. And I find one of the best ways to be able to do that, going back to everybody else, hey, here's my dream. This is what I want to achieve this year. And so the picture in your mind is by December 31st, 2023, you accomplish X, Y, and Z, or you achieve X, Y, and Z. How do you feel? And if they can hold on to that feeling, they'll be able to get to the next level too. And I think that really does make a huge impact on them jumping out and taking chances because you were willing to jump out and take chances. And there's a very big difference between happiness and fulfillment. And I think fulfillment comes from achieving goals, and that can be literally breaking through and keeping friendships for decades, and because it takes work. every bit of it takes work, right? And so it's where you focus your direction, but you want to have some sort of an end goal in sight in every facet of your life, I think.
Yeah, great points, Tammy. You had so many great points there. I mean, courage, number one. I found it interesting that was in the definition too. I hadn't thought of that specifically, but it's great to have it in the definition. And there's a piece of accountability, right? Personal accountability that you were talking about there that I think is sometimes lacking, and it can really put a barrier up against your achievement. I agree. I think you've got some really good points there. How about Vanessa? Vanessa, I haven't heard you on this call before. I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about yourself too, maybe introduce yourself, but also your thoughts on.
Even when no one else is looking, because you know that this is what you wanted to commit to. For me, on a personal, I'm very driven. I'm very driven with what's next, that next step, like you mentioned, Kelly, in your career, or what's next. So for me, it was a personal achievement to complete my PhD, to get my doctorate degree. And it was not an easy undertaking. So when when I first got the bachelor's, I'm like, okay, I did it. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm like, but I wanted to continue my growth and get my master's for business. I'm like, all right, let me try this. And once I was in, I'm like, okay, I think I can manage work-life balance, because I was, married, had a career, but I finished my master's. And then I was laid off. And that was the first time in my career that I was not in the driver's seat of my career. I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do now? Well, one of my personal goals was, let me see what it's like to get a doctorate or a PhD. So I started looking at different avenues and going that extra mile. But I'm like, it took a lot of courage and a lot of effort, because I was the first one in my family, in my extended family, that I'm like, okay, what am I doing? And once I got in there, it was a really safe space to be with your colleagues, with a cohort, and you have that accountability. So you also having that tribe and that help from others to help make your achievements is really critical. But it's doing that effort, having that courage to say, I'm going to do it. And honestly, it was a blessing in disguise. And I know it's going to sound terrible, but I was traveling a lot, like many of you ladies on this call, like Teresa, that I know personally. And with the pandemic, I was able to stop the travel and really hunker down and finish my dissertation, because that was the most difficult paper that I have ever written in my career. But again, it was that achievement that I had to persevere. I had to make sure I had that skill, that courage, and that effort to get it through to the final stage. And it happened. But again, every achievement is so different for every person. Some of us have crazy, wild achievements, like every lady on this call that I know personally. But if you want to do it, you can. Just believe in yourself, have that determination. And one of my other crazy things that I do is a vision board. So all my achievements, all my goals, because I'm visual, every year, either at the beginning of the year, end of the year, I have my little crazy vision board, and I write down my personal, my spiritual, my family, my career, what my crazy ideas are. And 9 times out of 10, they come true. If not that year, or really close to, but it's continuous. And that's something I'd love to share with the viewers, is believe in yourself, have a vision board, or, it could be a book or whatever, a journal that you put what your goals are. But once you put it down or you see it on paper, there's something about that will help you get there. So, what the mind can achieve, and it can believe. So, I messed it around. What the mind can believe, it can achieve. There you go.
There you go.
So those are my
Excellent.
2 cents for today in the morning.
Oh, that's excellent. First of all, congratulations, PhD. Sue, I always hats off to that. That is a tough one to get. That is definitely a scholarly achievement, no doubt, tons of work there. And that belief, and having belief in yourself, I think, is a critical piece, a very critical piece. You said something there in your little discussion about when when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And I think that comes from the Army or some military area. So we got to turn it over to
Before you go to Erica, sorry, real quick. So Vanessa and Tammy, both doctor, and Tammy's going for her master's in karate or seventh master, whatever you call it.
Taekwondo, I'm going for I would be a master by December of 2025.
So, okay, so think about those. Those are long years. You got Erica,
30 years.
right? So you got Erica going for hers in the military. She'll explain it. So you think about that. We're all doing something. I'm going back into real estate, the biggest buildings. This is making me so excited. So Erica, sorry, I just want to define that. Go ahead.
It's all yours, Erica. What do you think on achieving?
Yeah, no problem. So I'm totally with Vanessa. I'm a strategist. So when I think of the word achievement, that's sort of a long-term goal. So I also am visual. So if you've got something in your mind, whatever that is, like I want to be a master in Taekwondo, then you start speaking it, you start socializing it, and it becomes normalized, and it becomes something that makes it more real that you're going to do this. So then along that journey, you've got your achievement, which is sort of your end state. And then in between that, you have those accomplishments. And those are sort of those tasks or those milestones or those decision points that say, yes, I am working towards, the longer term strategic achievement. But again, some of us are visual, like Vanessa and I. Write that stuff down, speak to it, and that makes a little harder to get out of, because there's a little bit of accountability there, because people are expecting you to do what you say. But as in life, you might have something that you want to accomplish, but throughout your planning period, something makes you deviate, good or bad, and maybe the universe is trying to tell you something. So even though it might look linear, you'll have a lot of distractions, but sometimes go with those distractions, and it might be better than what you thought was the goal in the end. So yeah, it's just a matter of sticking with something, having that grit, and then working hard.
I do think the pathways are interesting, aren't they? The pathways that get you to where you're going, because I agree, it's not always a straight line. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be in supply chain management, right? It just wasn't even on the radar when I was growing up. So a lot of different twists and turns. And so Teresa, you've had such a fantastic career and still are having a fantastic career in real estate, et cetera. I'm sure you've achieved a lot of goals. What do you think about keep achieving?
Well, first of all, I love the idea, and I'm with the perfect brand, right? Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. You look at Warren Buffett. I mean, look at his age, look at all the accomplishments he's actually accomplished already. And then he continues to do so, right? So he's the perfect role model for keep achieving. I look at depending, and life will, throw you some ups and downs, things that are that you don't expect. I mean, I certainly have felt that this past year. And so it's hard to always get refocused, but I realize that's the only way that you can advance and move forward. And that to give legacy to others that have played an important role in your growth, like my husband and Mike. So keep achieving to me is just continuously always looking for the opportunity to grow yourself. And I think you all mentioned it, and I'm so proud to be with this group of women who I see as continuous achievers in every aspect of their careers, both professionally, spiritually. And that's what you have to do, is surround yourself with people that are always going to make you better and want you to get better. Because I look at you and I'm like, oh gosh, I got to get up. I got to keep up with this group and continue to achieve. I personally, this past year, enrolled, and for me, it's very difficult because it's been a long time since I've been in school. Vanessa, I have no idea how you did this, but I enrolled in a Cornell study, and so I'm working at Cornell to get a degree in diversity, because I felt like that was an area that I really didn't have the credentials in. I do, but I don't. Like, oh gosh, I wish I had the credentials. So it has been a big kick in the butt to get back to school, to get so I can get really better at what I do now. And so that, to me, that's the whole idea behind Keep Achieving. No matter what age you are, I look at so many professionals that have gone on to do greater things at an older time in their life. So example would be Judi Dench. I love movies, but I don't think she got her first gold, her first Oscar until she was in her 60s. But she, even though people told her to give up, she was too old to be in acting, she continued her trade, and in her 60s she's developed more of a name and is in more films than she's ever been. So she kept achieving. Karl Lagerfeld is another one that also kept achieving. In his 80s, he actually became a household name, whereas before that, people didn't know really. I mean, you were familiar with the brand, but not necessarily with his work like you are today. Another one to me is James Parkinson, who in his 60s developed the Parkinson, understood the model of Parkinson's disease. So, you think about all these people that kept achieving and continue to keep achieving. And that's what that means to me. No matter what you are, where you are in life, it's always doing something that helps you better yourself. And I also am a visual person too. And I have my boards right here to the right of my door. And so I can see them all the time. And I do those. I don't do them every year. So I need to do that, Vanessa, but I have the long-term goals. And if I look at the board, I start to see everything that's on there I need to remove because I've achieved a lot of that stuff. So, again, that is my idea of continuously achieving. And I'm, again, just really excited to be part of this and always continuing my growth, because it never ends until you really are, fulfilled.
Oh, that's great, Teresa. Yeah, it is stimulating when you go back to school. That's for sure. You're opening up all those channels that haven't been open for a while. Yeah, I'm doing some self-study myself on a couple things. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to get that kind of going again, but it's always so good. It's always so good. So Marty, I haven't gotten to you yet. Let's jump over to you. We've had a lot of discussion about, I guess, just what achieving means in all these different situations. And Teresa brought up a great point too. How do you keep achieving, right? You've got some people that have kept achieving all the way into their 80s, 90s, whatever. How do you keep it going? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Marty?
Well, it's funny that I'm going to be really transparent and say that when something's thrown at me like achieve, the first thing I feel is a little bit of stress. Like, am I doing it right? Am I going high? It's like, oh God, what? Achieve? I mean, so I really had to step back and say, all right, well, what does that mean to me? And I think sometimes we miss the part where it's, how are you going to achieve for yourself? Like, what is it about you that's unique and special? And how do you maximize that? And so at this season of my life, I've been really reflective on, what does the long game look like? Like, how do we're in this weird sandwich where parents are passing away. We're still, watching over kids. And now I have a grandbaby. I'm in this season where it's okay, what does this last window look like? And I read a terrific book. I don't know if you guys have read it, but Ikigai, and I've heard it pronounced different ways, but it's a gentleman who was looking at in Okinawa, there are a group of people that have lived into their hundreds. And so what were the common things that they do, to be in that space? And so, I've always been a really good copycat. Like, I believe that if someone else has figured this out ahead of me, that it'd be smarter for me to get there quicker if I just replicate some of the things that they've done. And so this book was really speaking to me, but the part that I liked about it was that it was achieving simple things that make your life full, and recognizing that a lot of the softer skills that people don't get credit for sometimes, but being that trusted person that people rely on, an interesting common thread that a lot of them had was gardening, that the simple act of gardening had kept them going.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah. I wouldn't think
Right.
about that.
Most
Yeah.
of them, interestingly enough, kept working.
Mhm.
And so I think because the reason I'm in this season is that I'm seeing a lot of friends start to retire. And in my head, my husband and I talk about it, and I said, I really love what I do. Like I don't have that burning desire to retire. I just have this burning desire to keep learning and going deeper into what I'm doing. And so I feel blessed that I feel that way. And so for me, achieving is, how do I craft my life so that I have this balance of adventure and brain growth, and that I get to stay in the game, because I want to be that old, interesting person. We've got a 90-year-old guy that sits with us on the beach. Like where I live, if we go to 34th Street, there's a pack of people that we all hang out together, and they're every age from teenagers on the way up, but we all sit on the beach starting about 3 o'clock. One guy brings margaritas, even though it's not allowed, but
No
and,
wonder you go, aha.
yeah. And so, but
I
there's
mean, Corona Del Mar. I mean, come on, people, like, what's the problem with that? Go ahead.
there's this guy, he's turning 90, and he rides his bike down there. His skin is super tan and leathery, and he now doesn't bring a chair, and he always sits, just whoever he sits next to, he sits Indian style. Wait, I shouldn't say that anymore. It sits on the cross-legged on the ground, and just starts talking to whoever's next to him. And when you peel back the onion, he used to fly jet planes and landed on aircraft carriers. And it's just this amazing life that he's had. So I think it's achieving, in my mind, would be, how do I become a lifetime learner? So when I'm sitting on the beach, I'm not boring to someone sitting next to me, that they think, oh, wow, she's had an interesting life. Look at that. Or they enjoy the conversation, that I'm still adding to the planet, and it matters for us. So anyway, that I just kind of went kind of deep on it, and, wrestled with some of the demons of, is there a measuring stick on achievement, and who's making the decision whether this is good achieving or this is good achieving? And just wanted to make sure that conversations like this don't add stress to women who are thinking, I'm just doing this. I mean, women do that all the time. I'm just an insert here.
Mhm.
Like you could be just a gardener in your own garden, and that garden brings joy to the whole neighborhood. So, anyway.
No, you bring up a great point, Marty. Sometimes when people start talking about achieving, it's like the hamster wheel, right? It's
Yeah.
like you have to be on the hamster wheel. You have to continually achieve. You have to continue, and it does add stress. And I think that's a really important point, because that's why I kind of want to expand the topic a little bit, because you're right. It's not just about a career and achieving on the career wheel. And if you're not moving up, right, you're falling back. And if you're not, we've all heard all the little sayings. I think the other softer skills and the softer pieces of our lives mean a lot in the overall picture. And I too, having retired, as they call it, from a career, now doing board work, now, spending time giving that legacy to my grandchildren, traveling. And I think to myself, really, the career has allowed me to do the things that really are my true achievements, right? My family, my friends, and all of that. Those are my true achievements, but the achievements in my career helped me get there, no doubt. You have that's you hit on a lot of really good points. I want to come back to some of those, but I got to get over to Desiree, because Desiree, my gosh, you're running this organization, started it up, got us all going. Why don't you talk a little bit about what achieving means to you, and some of the pros and cons maybe of the achieving success mantra?
So thank you. So listen to everyone, what you just said. I mean, my heart goes pitter patter. I mean, think about everything that's put together, the difference in different journeys that we've all gone through. And Marty, what a different perspective, but I absolutely love it, because I'm a horticulturalist, and gardening to me is my life, that it goes out and sets my mind to go with it. but you're right. It's the smelling of the roses, the simplicity, the storytelling. It goes that we talk about here. This gentleman's 90 on the beach is doing that storytelling. So love it. So for me, it's been a very interesting journey starting this organization and starting the council. And I'm so grateful that Rebecca gave me the push to do it, to say that she'd be part of it and get this going and to continue this on, continuing everything that's gone through. And for me, I have to reflect because something just happened very incredibly. In fact, it just happened 2 nights ago, to where, before we got on the call and this principal, we continue, this is our 3rd year. So I just want to make a real quick statement. Vanessa, thank you very much for rejoining us. I love, been back here and everyone through it and all the journeys that we've been through. So super excited about that and having you on the call. So I just want to make sure everyone, if you recognize Vanessa, yes, she was back in the day. So love to have you back. And I love when we move to new companies and new horizons and new things happen. But the point for me was, as that happened 2 nights ago, is that I've been in real estate for almost 40 years now, and I got my license in 1990. So I was before I was professionally and sold thousands of properties into foreclosures and did all different kinds of corporate reload and things before we had our computers and our phones and everything else. It was all about the mind and how you could memorize everything and knew everything that was going around. And so all of a sudden I had this opportunity to get back into doing real estate in a big way in foreclosures. And I've been working with these people for the last couple of years, and now I'm on buying a building that's 40 stories tall. I'm in part of a huge hotel. I'm part of all these different things that are being around the United States. And now we're going into properties that we can help the female transitional, veteran transitional housing and all these different things. And my son comes to me, and I've had a little bit of difficulty because they're like, the women's thing, the D&I stuff, like why? He's like, Mom, go back to real estate. Well, here I've combined both the assets of buying real estate, the 30 plus years on the foreclosure side, and now we're into the side of what we can do for the housing and bring it still with the D&I sector into it. And he goes, Mom, I want to sit down with you and we're going to spend 20 minutes and we're going to go over this, where before he would never even thought of doing that. So for me, that was so huge because now it brings together that achievement is to the specialty that Marty talked about, is those moments. And that moment was him come in and it's like, okay, because they were having this little bit of disconnect of this whole thing is going down. So I would like to move it a little bit forward. I want to show a video. Last night we had problems with our internet here. Technology was not working. I was just, so at midnight, almost to 1 o'clock, by the time I got done and found one, I found a video that just came out 3 months ago and it spoke to me and it moved my heart, and I'd like to play it right now. About keep achieving, because if you think about, it's not just our professional career, but what do we keep on learning? Because the fact is that can anyone say, with all the disasters, all the things that's going on in the world, all the effects, a lot of us are, we're dealing with, people that are having issues, people are, the world around us changing, and how do we lead, right? So here's a simple thing from a personal side that I thought was really incredible. I'd like to cue it up. I've never seen something like this before. So I'm going to go ahead and play it right now, if that's okay with you, Kelly.
Yes.
But what I need to do is I need to share my screen. I forgot to do that before, so sorry. Here, share the screen. We're going to do this right here. Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, here we go. But you can't hear her. Hold on. Why can't you hear her?
I know just how important the first.
Here, we're gonna start over. Here we
What
go.
if I was to tell you that a game of peekaboo would change the world? Thanks to scientists, we now know just how important the first 5 years are for our health and development, especially our brains. Our brains develop faster in our early years than at any other time in our lives. It can create up to 1 million neural connections every second. But we need your help. Our healthy development depends on these top 5 things. 1, connecting. 2, talking. 3, playing. 4, a healthy home. 5, community. All of this helps our brains and does reach our full potential. So what's something you can do that can really make a difference? Scientists call it serve and return. That's just a grown-up way of saying connect, talk, and play with us. Copycat games build imagination and empathy.
And
Naming games build vocabulary and attention.
Daddy, hurry, Daddy, hurry.
Like peekaboo. Yep, peekaboo. Actually build memory and trust. Each time you talk to us, play with us, make us laugh, it not only builds and strengthens our relationships and mental health, it actually teaches us some of the most important life skills. From making friends, to taking the test, to getting a job, to one day maybe even starting a family of our own. Let's see what happens when the connection is taken away. So now he's trying to get his dad's attention again. He's reaching out like, that was fun, why have you stopped? I know it's important for adults to use their devices sometimes, but kids are hardwired to seek out meaningful connections. Not receiving them causes confusion and stress. What if our whole childhood was like that last 30 seconds? How hard it would be for a child to feel calm, to feel safe, to learn to trust anyone, and the lifelong impact that would have. So please try and remember, the most special period for our development is the first 5 years. What's something really impactful you can do? Serve and return. And when? Early and often. Imagine the difference we could make if everyone everywhere did this.
What? Oops.
What if I was to tell you?
Okay, stop.
That girl's gonna rule the world, I'll tell you.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I think it's a great way to explain a concept that I think we all have realized, especially in our societies these days, is that the connection between people, right, is so important. And it does start out, I mean, amazingly with very, very little babies, you know, looking for that connectivity. And unfortunately, I think many people have started giving it all to their devices or to technology or whatever, and it's having its impact.
You know what? There's a great, you can Google it, the most asked questions to Google of 2022, and it's a little 2-minute video. And it's awesome because it has everybody asking, can I change? Can I change careers? Can I create change? Can I change my community? Can I change my environment? But I'm just so blown away by this because Harvard Business Review did a study, and there's one other place that did a study, and people even seeking for jobs right now, if they're looking to go back in, you know, forget the silent, you know, walking away, silent resignation, people coming in and wanting to communicate, they want connection and community, growth and development, and meaning and purpose, which is exactly what this beautiful little girl just said. So adults are looking for the same exact thing.
Right.
And I think the pandemic really stimulated it in everyone to make them really go back to the reality that we don't live in a metaverse. We actually live in this universe, and we need to all connect and take responsibility for leading by example. And, you know, when you're up, reach down, when you're down, reach up, just taking that next person to where they want to achieve. And maybe achievement is literally just living a purposeful life.
Right, right. Yeah, Desiree, that was a great clip. That was just a great clip.
9 million views. It came out the end of November of last year. They're now doing short segments. That was 3.5+ minutes. Perfect segment for what we're doing. But when I saw it last night, it just, my whole emotion of my body just went, because the serve and receive, having the little girl do it, and the simplicity of it, of smelling the roses, was just so powerful for me, because all of us are guilty of, here's a tablet, here's a phone, here's whatever. And it resonates to a conversation we had a couple sessions ago, a couple principles ago, where we talked about, we were holding a magazine up. Could you imagine a 5-year-old, and this happened in 2022, a 5-year-old picking up one of our magazines that are behind these incredible ladies in this that have graced the cover of NAWRB's magazine, that which is almost every one of you, have the magazine is, he held it up like this, and he moved it around, and he goes, threw it back on the table, and goes, it doesn't move. What's wrong with it? It's broken. He had never seen a flattened piece of paper. He'd never seen a book. He had never seen anything two-dimensional. His world was completely three-dimensional. So the idea is that we got to remember the VR, AR, the imagery of what we're bringing up in our children is everything in that screen. If you think about a tablet, it moves versus then being still. And so he could not relate to that. So the new dynamic of how we're raising our children, is it going to be that we're going to lose that touchability? So it just really hit me.
No, I think that's there's a lot of messages in that little clip, right? And they often say that our brains are at their best when we're 0 to 5, because we're learning so much and we're so open. I often wonder, going back to your storyboards, Vanessa, if everyone's goal at the top is just, to become a better person, would the whole idea of achieving be different? Because I think, to Marty's point, when people say achieve, I'm going to achieve, it's very materialistic. It's got that connotation around it, about money, about status, about something, where maybe it should just be becoming a better person. And then how do you get all the paths to that? I mean, you use careers to get there, you lead. And to Tammy's point, I think the best part of achieving is helping others achieve, right? I mean, that's the best part of it. And so any other thoughts and comments on that?
I would love to share a story there. One of the nonprofits that I was doing consulting with is this wonderful little social enterprise called Monkey Business Cafe. And it's in Fullerton, right near the college. And it was started by a mom and a father and his daughter, who were running foster care group homes. And the kids kept rebounding back. They just couldn't they would emancipate, they get out of the system, but they weren't good equipped to keep a job. They didn't have the skills to show up for a job and understand what was needed. So they started this social enterprise so they could have the kids longer and teach them, this is how you show up for work, and pull out their skills of the areas that they felt the most comfortable in. So one of the kids designed the logo and does all their social media, and some are in hospitality and some are learning to cook. And they have a agreement with Cal State Fullerton. One of the kids is farming to bring food from the farm in for farm to table cooking. So it's a super terrific organization. Well, they were on this growth spurt because they had gotten funding for their commercial kitchen to get upgraded. And I approached my son-in-law's mom, and I said, I would love to take you over to show you what they're doing, because I think you would really enjoy this. And so we went over and we had lunch, and we're sitting there, and they're explaining what they do and how they do it. And she said, I would really like to help. How can I help? And they said, well, come by in the afternoon. Anytime, we can always put you to work in the afternoons. And luckily she had to go to the bathroom. And I said, when she left, I said, you guys, she's never going to come back on her own. We have to have a reason for her to come back and have that next step, so she feels engaged. So can you tell her that, like, in a week, there'll be you want to take her through the kitchen, because you're going to have a team meeting in the kitchen, and you'd love to show her how the kitchen runs. And they said, sure, okay, we can do that. And so we sit back down, she sits back down, and they, offered up, they go, we were thinking we've got this meeting next Wednesday in the kitchen with the team, and we're going to go over things in the kitchen. Would you like to join us then? And she just perked up and she goes, oh, I would love that. And so I said, well, share with them what you do for a living. And she goes, oh, I'm just a consultant. And I was laughing, and I said, and you're a consultant doing what? And she said, well, I have 2 degrees, one in culinary foods science, and one in, it was something else food related. So she's a food scientist. That's what she does for a living. She was helping Jamba Juice create flavors. And it's all about food efficiency and nutrition. And so the people at the table are going, oh my God. And so sure enough, she shows up on that next Wednesday, and they take her through the kitchen, and then she's like all in, and she starts going once a week. She called me one day and she goes, hey, I got to talk to you because, they're setting prices on the menu, but they don't know how much the stuff costs. Like, they're not weighing the food, and they don't know what they paid for they're just, and I said, yep. And she goes, oh, that's why you wanted me here. And I said, exactly. That's why I wanted you here. So fast forward to us having Thanksgiving dinner, and she says to me, she goes, I need you to know something. She said, every year I tell myself I'm going to do something, and meaning doing something that matters is what that really means. And she goes, and every year I would face the end of the year and I hadn't done it. And she said, this changed my life. Me being able to share my skills in there and really make a difference has changed my life. And I'm so grateful that you showed it to me. And so it's one of those things that everything that she does authentically, and Desiree, we talk about this all the time, her no big deal skill, the thing that she does, she doesn't even think about it. She doesn't think it's a big deal because she just does it. It was transformational for that nonprofit. I mean, she started weighing the foods. She started making it, showing them they need to be profitable. She started changing the flavors and the menus. I mean, one person can transform any organization when we attach to the right skills to make it happen. And then it always, and the secret that no one wants to talk about because it sounds like you're not doing it for the right reasons, is that when you engage in things like that, it changes your life. Mm-hmm. And so I'm always encouraging people that are working in the nonprofit space as volunteers or serving on boards to talk about how it changes your life, because that's the way we'll get more people in doing it.
Oh, that's a great story and a great point. I often think that maybe just sharing that natural innate ability or skill or whatever that you have is really what true achievement is. It's sharing that thing about you that's special, whatever it is. It's not necessarily, becoming some great big, I don't know, famous, whatever you want to say, rich, successful person. It's sharing that skill that you have that brings joy to others. And, certainly then the others also are what's fulfilling you. I mean, then you do it. And then that's what actually ends up fulfilling you in the long run. I mean, it's a great story, Marty.
So the why part that you just illustrated, the clip that I sent Desiree for today, because here's I think what a lot of humans face, not just women, but humans face is, can you say what that is? Like, are you clear on what that is? And I'm not sure that everybody is. And so what I sent was this Simon Sinek clip where he kind of has an exercise to find your why. And so I don't know if you want to tee that up, Desiree, but it might be perfect right now.
Yes, I'm teeing up. Give me one sec. Okay, so the Simon here, we're ready to go. And we're going to press.
Absolutely. I'll give you a little exercise that you can do with your friends. It's called the friends exercise. Find a friend you love and who loves you. The person who, if they called you at 3 o'clock in the morning, you take the call and you know they would do the same for you. Do not do this with a sibling. Do not do this with a spouse. Do not do this with a parent. Those relationships are too close. Do it with a best friend. And go up to them and ask the simple question. Why are we friends? And they're going to look at you like you're crazy because you're asking them to put into words a feeling. You're asking them to use a part of the brain, the neocortex, that doesn't control feelings, and to put the thing that exists in the limbic brain into language, which it doesn't do. And so it's actually a very difficult question. They're going to say, I don't know. It's not that they don't know, it's that they can't put it into words. So ironically, you stop asking the question why and you start asking the question what, because what is a rational question, right? What is it about me that I know that you would be there for me no matter what? And they won't know how to answer it. They'll start describing you. I don't know, you're funny, I trust you, you've always been there for me. You play devil's advocate. Good, that's the definition of a friend. What specifically is it about me that I know you'd be there for me no matter what? And they'll continue to do the same. They'll keep trying to describe you. You keep playing devil's advocate. That's the definition of a best friend. You get the idea. Eventually, they'll give up. Eventually, they'll give up and they'll start describing themselves. And they'll say, and this is what my friend said to me when I did it with them. They said, I don't know, Simon. I don't even have to talk to you. I could just sit in the same room as you and I feel inspired. And I got goosebumps. In fact, I'm getting them right now. They will articulate the value you have in their life and you will have some sort of emotional response, goosebumps, or you'll well up. Because what they're telling you is your why. Your why is the thing you give to the world. You can do this with multiple friends and they will say almost exactly, if not the exact same thing, because that is your why. That is the thing you give to the world. So it may not give you the exact language, but it'll put you squarely in the ballpark for what your why is.
Here's an anonymous question. I have a friend who is certainly, or who's currently struggling with depression.
You can stop it there.
It's not like he used to be. I don't know what to say to him. He's actually annoyed by the question, how are you doing?
Yeah.
First of all, I love Simon Sinek. Thanks for sending that, Marty. But so many of his talks are so good.
But I think I think that there's so many people that's the push through part that they can't get through. Like, you know, when I went through a pivot in my life, that I kind of said, the pastor said, you all have gifts. Are you using them? And I was sitting in the chair going, oh crap. I don't know. I can sell stuff, but that's not really a gift. I mean, I really was lost. And so that's when I decided to go on a quest to figure out what that was. So I don't think it's an easy answer. I mean, I love his exercise. That's a piece of the journey. But I think so much of the journey is, you know, pressing through to really listen and pay attention to when you feel like you're at your best, so you can connect the dots to know that's your sweet spot.
You know, it's funny that you bring that up. So I have something in common with Tammy. We love reading. And that was something that I learned throughout the years of knowing her. But when I was 18, I was just flourishing, right? Like a flower. I remember one of my counselors like, Vanessa, you need to read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm like, why? Why do I have to read that? But that was one of the best books that I read. It was like my Bible beyond the Bible, because it really gave me this incredible different view. It was like a paradigm shift. And I remember one of the second principles is like, begin with the end in mind. So here I am, 18 years old. It's like, you have to write your own eulogy. I'm like, wait, what? I'm 18, I'm like just growing. But that was so impactful because it gives you what kind of life do you want to lead? What kind of meaning do you want to provide? And it really goes with the achievement, and it goes with Marty was saying, and Kelly, it's true. Like, what do you want to leave on this earth? Like, even with Simon Sinek, your why, like, you know, you're inspirational, you're this, you're very generous. But it's true, it has to be your, who are you? What kind of person do you want to leave on this earth? What kind of moments are you sharing with the people that you love? And so that premise has never left me. And so that book, I really love it. And also with the achievement is also one of the last premise, keep sharpening your saw. So it's like we are our own tool, like our brain, and we just keep going, you know. And yes, it might not be as fresh as when we were in our 20s or 30s, but we just never give up, because no matter what, now we got TED Talks, we have the technology, we have books, we have God knows everything going at us. But what I love is that you're never too young, you're never too old to learn. So, and you're never too young and old to keep achieving no matter what. Look at the little girl at 5 years old, my God. The world is her oyster. But to me, I just really it impacted my life so much that I'm like, what kind of human being am I? Well, your word is your oath. What you say, you mean. Do what you say. And if you don't, own it. So those are principles. And it just, when I was 18, I was like, why, what am I gonna, I don't think I'm gonna die tomorrow. But it was just an incredible learning curve. And I encourage those that haven't read it to read it at any age group, particularly when you're young and you're starting out in the world, because it would just open up different possibilities and different thought processes. So I just wanted to share that with everyone on the call.
I wanted to share one thing. This book is called Before Happiness, and it's written by Sean Aker. The 5 Hidden Keys to Achieving Success, Spreading Happiness, and Sustaining Positive Change. It's amazing for how you think and why you think the way that you think, and really makes you want to be a better person. Truly, it's great for achieving and making you want to be a better person. But I wanted to mention one more thing, and that is that there's a book, One Word That Will Change Your Life. And we pick, as a company, we pick a word every year that we're going to focus on that one word. And our one word for the company this year is growth. And it's because you grow from the inside, right? And our entire organization was built on human potential. So it's not just growing the business, but growing people and individuals. But my personal word, and how you can tell that it's something that is meant for you, and you're in the right direction. My personal word for this year is honor. I want to honor you by being present while I'm here, right? Not multitasking. I want to honor you and really respect the time that we have and learn from you and give back and be completely present. Same with friends, the same with family, the same with the company. I want to honor the company and build and be in the lane that I'm supposed to be in. And I also want to honor people that we've lost by honoring their memory, by doing good things, by really focusing the right direction and doing good things. But you usually have something that happens that tells you you're on the right path and you're headed in the right direction. And hopefully I won't get emotional, but that you're headed in the right direction and that this is the right thing, the right word for you for this year, because you start focusing. Every time I look at my schedule, I say, am I honoring those people? Am I honoring this day? Am I being totally present when I'm present? You know, really, you start questioning everything and revolving your world around it so that you're in the right direction, heading in the right direction for yourself. And we had started a charity. We lost our son Shane 5 years ago in January, and we started a charity in his honor called Shane's Gift. And we gave back to people serving in the military, especially people transitioning. And we decided as a family around the holidays that we were going to discontinue it, donate the money, because we found a place that actually has an outreach program that does everything that he wanted to do. It handles the entire outreach process from the time somebody gets out of the military until they can transition. And it's just an amazing organization, but also because we were just getting hit in the heart too many times, you know, spending more money with attorneys and accountants. And every time we kept looking at it, it was just harder and harder. The day I decided my one word was honor, and I had already sent the check out to these people in Shane's honor, they sent me a letter back saying that they wanted a picture of him to put on their honor wall, and that they would like to name a military service dog after him so that he would always be honored out in the field. And the same day, his best friend called, and they're expecting their first child, and whether it's a boy or a girl, they want to honor Shane and name the baby Shane. That's when you know you're heading in the right, like you pick the right word and you're heading in the right direction. It's almost like you get all these signs from the universe that tell you, okay, we're on the right path. And I really encourage everybody to pick one word that you can work your world around, every facet of it, not just business.
Yeah. I think that's kind of a great way to wrap up the session, Desiree. I mean, I can't top that, Tammy. That's fantastic.
It is.
What a wonderful thing to do. And I know many of us pick words, and I think honor. Wow, I hadn't even thought of that word. That's a great word. I'm going to turn it over to you, Desiree. And thanks everybody for all the discussion on achieving. I think we broadened that topic out pretty strong. So
definitely. I mean, 3 years in the running, this is fantastic. So thank you very much, Kelly, for the jet lag and everything. Thank you, Vanessa, for rejoining. And Erica, I'd like to actually close out with you. We have all these things going on around the world. What great advice can you give us with keep achieving with the things that are going on? You being at your incredible honor to have you with the service that you are doing and world events. So anything you would like to close out with real quick?
And Erica, just 1 second. Will you ladies put those 2 books in the chat? like a link to Amazon in the chat, because those were two really good suggestions.
Agree, yes.
I would just say it varies by person, but is it attainable? Can you get to where you need to go? And some people have skill sets that others don't. So what may be attainable for me may not be attainable for others. So dream, think big, but again, have some type of plan and make sure that it's actionable and it's attainable, and make sure you have that roadmap to accomplish that long-term, vision.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. The passion and heart everyone on this call gives, and those who were not able to make a call due to other commitments. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Next month is Believe, whatever the mind can conceive, it can achieve. Teresa, that's yours. That's your principle you came up with. Absolutely love it. Can't wait to have that. Again, we moved him this year from 2023 until Tuesday versus on Thursday. That way we all can be on the call and it works better for everyone. So again, this is good moving from Tuesday, just to make sure everyone marks their calendar. So that being said, thank you all. Have an incredible day. Please be safe and stay healthy. And that make sure you share the story. So thank you all. Have a great one and we'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.